What's up everybody, D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla King of the Monsters news and updates. Oh man, this one's a rough one. Alright, so this one's going to be about that 4-day-old news now that I've been really avoiding talking about on this channel. Before we jump into it, I'm going to avoid it for like 30 more seconds. I do have a news source you guys can check out down below that states that Godzilla King of the Monsters will go on stage at Comic-Con Saturday, July 21st, which is already what we knew. Although they say that it will be on stage at 1:30 p.m. Now that does conflict with the previous reports that I got that Godzilla King of the Monsters would be going on stage at SDCC at 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. somewhere in that time zone. So I'm not sure if this 1:30 p.m. thing is just whoever wrote this article was talking about their own time zone rather than San Diego time. So I'm not entirely sure about that. What I do know is that the 10:30 to 12:30 p.m. time slot does seem to be the more accurate one. And that's all I gotta say about that, is if you saw the 1:30 p.m. time slot news, you're probably checking the wrong sources. Or you probably just got your news from a maybe confused source that just forgot to switch things back to the original time zone. Alright, let's jump into the news. I got loads of different sources that have confirmed this. You guys can go check them all out down below. These are news from like entertainment, Metro.us, and then Toho Kingdom, and GodzillaMovies.com, and Gamoru Island. So it's official. It's officially confirmed news. Let's just jump into the discussion, breaking down the Vera Farmiga interview that she just did, where she talked about how she would be playing, well, we already knew, but she would be playing a character named Emma Russel in Godzilla King of the Monsters. Farmiga's on-screen, now we know, ex-husband will be Mark Russell, played by Kyle Chandler, and they both have a daughter together, whose name is Madison Russell, played by Millie Bobby Brown. Emma Russell will be a Monarch worker, and it is presumable that Mark Russell will be too. Okay, here's the actual interview. We will kind of go through this in order of least important to most important. First of all, Farmiga says she doesn't go into too much detail regarding this movie because she's still working on it. She's still working with Michael Dougherty. She has another day of additional photography, according to her. Basically, she says they're still working on the movie, and that's why she doesn't want to give too much away, which I find very weird. I know we have already got the official wrap on the principal photography, and also reshoots have already finished, so I don't know why they're going back and doing even more. She does go on to explain that Michael Dougherty is very careful. That's good news, meaning he's going to give a lot of attention to this movie. But then she explains that the reason she's back is because he's doing countless takes to get things right. That seems a little weird to me, that she seems to be one of the only ones maybe back still doing this. And we don't know about Millie Bobby Brown and Kyle Chandler, but she's the only one who said anything about it, and I mean, they already finished their reshoots, so it's just weird to me that they're still filming the movie. Maybe this is a reaction to the test screening saying that the human characters are a little bland, which I'm all for. Hey, if you're going to go back and refilm just to make sure that they are as interesting as possible, good on you. She then does go on to say that she doesn't like doing multiple takes when it involves cork being thrown at you and wind machines blowing down your ears and up your nostrils. So she's clearly joking around in this quote, saying like, oh yeah, it can be a little hectic sometimes when we're doing multiple takes. But this whole wind machine thing, it got me thinking, right? Could she be talking about Mothra? Is she talking about Mothra's wings creating windstorms? She's going to have some involvement with Mothra, maybe? That would support the rumors that we've heard saying Farmiga's character and Brown's character will have close involvement in Mothra. That being said, though, keep in mind that this could mean any number of things, specifically because, after all, Godzilla is literally the only non-winged animal or monster in this movie. She could be talking about Rodan or Mothra or King Ghidorah. We have no idea. Or it could just be a windstorm, you know? It looks like from the official photos we got, looks like there's going to be some storms in this movie, so who knows? Honestly, I just think maybe this hints to the potential of her having close involvement with Mothra in the movie that we've already heard a little bit of rumors about in the past. Then she says something that got a lot of you guys, or some of you guys, pretty upset or scattered at least. She says that Godzilla 2 will not be a, quote, film about monsters, it's a film about saving the environment, end quote. Now, I can understand why some people would be worried about that. They don't want a goofy environmental message being shoved down your throat. We've seen it before, it's not great. I personally think that this doesn't mean too much. It probably means that this movie will have some deeper themes and allegory to it, just like the Ishiro Honda Godzilla movies did, that Michael Dougherty will be putting in there. It will be more relevant for our time, meaning it will be about the environment, because that's obviously a big problem nowadays. Probably, if I had to guess what she's talking about, Ghidorah will unfreeze. He will be broken out of his ice, basically tomb that he's in the Antarctic, because the polar ice caps are melting. We know that. That's a real thing that's happening because of global warming. So if I had to guess, global warming will release Ghidorah into the world and he will cause havoc. Honestly, it doesn't sound like that's too much of an issue. It doesn't sound like that's going to be one of those things shoved down our throat. It just sounds like that's how she really got into the role of her character, was by saying, I'm not in a monster movie, I'm in an environmental movie, and it matters, or something. Which, I would be honored to be in a monster movie. I'd be like, hell yeah, this is a monster movie. But if she wants to go this route and say that it's a movie about saving the environment, that's her choice. Alright, here's the weird stuff. So, Emma Russell will be a paleobiologist. I don't know if that's accurate, because although she says that, a paleobiologist studies fossils of animals and plants. They don't do what she claims that she's doing in this movie. My guess would be that she is studying the Godzilla bones found in the Philippines at the start of Godzilla 2014. Maybe she's studying the Muto's dead bodies, because they're, of course, ancient creatures. We also know that Monarch discovered, she was actually with the team in Monarch that discovered the cocoon, the Mothra cocoon in China in 2009 in the Temple of the Moth. She may just be there the whole time. That may be her specialty, is studying Mothra, which, that's cool. She's a paleobiologist studying this stuff. It doesn't mean that she's going to be super involved with bioacoustics and heading up the control of monsters, which is the next quote we'll get into. That part, it just seems like, are you sure you're a paleobiologist? Because that doesn't seem like something that they're going to be doing, is controlling monsters. It seems like they're just going to be studying fossils, specifically fossils of living things. So it's different than paleontology. Here's the big quote. This is an official quote from Vera Farmiga. It states, she, as in Emma Russell, has figured out a way to communicate with the creatures and potentially control them using their bioacoustics on a sonar level. She's like a DJ for the monsters. Oh boy, a lot to break down here. Alright, we're gonna go through the good potential outcomes for this. Good in my opinion. Some of you guys may think, oh, that's an awesome decision, I can't wait to see the monsters controlled. Here are the good possibilities, in my opinion. Number one, we have the potential to control monsters never makes it past just the potential to control monsters. The plan fails, it's going to be a big plot point in the story, you're going to think they're going to control the monsters, and then it just won't work. Nature can't be controlled, it can't be contained, life finds a way. It's the wrong series, but you know what I'm saying. It just doesn't work. It's just one of those plot lines that's just there to mislead the audience. That'd be my perfect scenario, but there are other things you could do with it. You could do it where the monsters can't really be communicated with, they can't really be controlled, but Monarch has found a way to generally figure out what they're thinking and amplify their primal instincts. Maybe this can make the monsters go from one place to another. Maybe you can amplify their primal instincts and make them head in certain directions. We have seen that in the Godzilla series before. We saw it in Godzilla 1984 with the birds, when Godzilla was attracted to frequencies that birds would emit. We also saw it in Godzilla vs. Gigan with the monster tapes that attracted Godzilla and Anguirus to the monster land where they were building their Godzilla tower. So there is the potential for that. The other potential, I would actually be fairly okay with this, is that Mothra is the only one that Monarch can communicate with. She is fully willing to be communicated with, and she can also be persuaded to do certain things for the humans, such as try to convince Godzilla to fight Ghidorah. Not necessarily succeed. We don't need another Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster's direct ripoff. It wouldn't be a ripoff. I've talked about this in the past, that this movie has the large potential to be a remake of that movie, but you know what I'm saying. We don't need that exact plotline followed through 100% to the smallest detail, minus the fairies. It's just, maybe they can have Mothra try and convince Godzilla to fight Ghidorah. And some people have been saying, whoa, what if she can't control the monsters at all? What if she's just saying that and she just found the twin fairies that can control the monsters or can control Mothra? You know, that's a little far-fetched for the Monsterverse. I've talked about in the past how I do want there to be twin people associated with Mothra, not necessarily tiny little fairies, but I want there to be twin people associated with Mothra who have some sort of mythical bond with the creature. But once again, it's just a little far-fetched for the Monsterverse for there to be tiny fairies, and by a little far-fetched, I mean that's insanely far-fetched for the Monsterverse. Alright, my final theory is, and it's actually not really my theory, this is more of something that I am adapting from a conversation I had with one of the members at Godzilla Island, so I gotta give a good shout out to them. There is the potential for the monsters to be controlled successfully, and this may sound like, whoa, why are you okay with this? And we'll talk about how I'm not in a minute, but in this scenario that I am okay with, the monsters are successfully controlled. The plan works. These gods and kings, they are now under man's control. But, as it's been stated over and over again in the Monsterverse,
The arrogance of man is thinking nature is in our control, and not the other way around.
this plan would backfire on the humans horribly, and it would enrage the monsters that they have been controlled, or at least cause some sort of mass devastation as a result of the humans trying to control these forces of nature. The monsters would gain their own control and independence from the humans, and they would be free to act independently from that point on, which is separate from having humans use the monsters for evil. This way, things backfire. I'd be okay with that. In fact, I think that's a really interesting way, and I know a lot of you guys don't like this idea, that you could get Godzilla to be the villain. And I've been talking about this non-stop since I started this channel. I want to see Godzilla not necessarily be the villain of the Monsterverse, but move more in a darker direction. And I think one way you can achieve that with his character is by taking control of him. He breaks free of that control. Well, now he has a reason to be pissed off at humanity. Now they have tried to control him. Now he has a reason to attack the humans. I think that's a great way to do that. And that would also set up the fight for Godzilla vs. Kong. Why is Godzilla evil all of a sudden? Or why are Kong and Godzilla fighting if they're both good guys? Well, now we know Godzilla was a good guy, but he is no longer a good guy because of what humanity did to him. Plus, if humanity plays God by controlling these monsters, you know, that's already nature is stepping out of balance. What's gonna balance that? What's gonna fix that? Godzilla is. He is the balance of nature. We know that in this series.
Nature has an order, a power to restore balance. I believe he is that power.
Maybe the monsters can be controlled, but Godzilla views that as taking it too far. Now humanity needs to be put back in check, and now he's gonna put them back in check. That could be an option. Alright, here are the bad options. I view them as more likely potential outcomes of this plan. The plan works. All the monsters can be controlled, and they are basically just used against one another as pawns in the humans' game of giant-sized chess, and all the monsters are forced to fight each other as a way to try and kill them all off and get rid of monsters on Earth. We've already heard the quote that humanity is overreacting to the monsters' existence, so is it really that far-fetched to think that they're going to try and force them to kill each other? No, it's not. Next one is the plan works. All the monsters can be controlled, but oh no, a terrorist gets control of Ghidorah and uses him for evil. Monarch must send in their new army of controlled monsters to save the day. And this is a very large potential based off the leaks we got about Charles Dance and oh boy, the new quote from Michael Dougherty, who said that Millie Bobby Brown's character and Vera Farmiga's character, the Russels, will be kidnapped by a mysterious organization with their own plans for the monsters. I think this is a huge potential. Ghidorah is just going to be controlled and used for evil. I hate that idea. I really, really, really don't want to see it. And, I seriously think that's where they're going to go with this. And maybe Godzilla, Rodan, and Mothra won't be controlled. Maybe they'll just fight Ghidorah, who is controlled. But come on, how many times have we seen that in the Showa era Godzilla movies? Ghidorah is controlled, used for evil. Godzilla has to stop him under his own free will. It's just like, ugh, can't we get something original? All right, my next thing that I don't like is the plan works. All the monsters can be controlled and they are used to fight each other and kill one another. Then Godzilla is used to fight King Kong in Godzilla vs. Kong. There is no reason for Godzilla and Kong to actually be fighting each other other than that humanity doesn't want either monster alive, so hopefully they'll kill each other both off. There is no battle to become the true king of the monsters because neither monster is actually in control of their own actions. And if they do that, Godzilla vs. Kong may go down in history as one of my least favorite Godzilla movies ever. And definitely one of my least favorite Kong movies ever. God, I hope they don't do that. The other idea is the plan works, the monsters can all be controlled, and that's it. That's all there is to it. Because that is an issue. In this monsterverse, that doesn't fit. You can't just have the monsters be controlled. That just, it seems so far-fetched in this very realistic universe. And we know that because Godzilla 2014 takes place in the real world. It's all of reality, except there's just giant monsters in it. Giant animals. They're not even monsters in this universe. They're just big animals. And Kong Skull Island was a little more whimsical than Godzilla 2014, but it didn't break the universe. It still followed the facts of reality. Nothing seen in that movie couldn't have happened in the real world. The only difference between Kong Skull Island and Godzilla 2014 was that the characters in Kong Skull Island were a little more goofy. They like to joke around a lot more than the characters in Godzilla 2014. That's really all there is to it. We can't have controlled monsters, and going back to the Godzilla vs. Kong possibility, there's the potential that maybe Godzilla can't be controlled, but maybe King Kong can. So you can have Kong controlled fighting Godzilla. Kong's still not under his own free will. They're just fighting because humanity doesn't want them alive, or the other way around. Kong can't be controlled. He's too smart for that. Godzilla, on the other hand, he can be controlled. So now we're going to have Godzilla go fight Kong, and that's going to be that because we don't want them around. I just hate that idea. I really don't want to see it played through like that. You guys heard my potential ideas for how they could do that and make it work, but I really don't think they're going to go with those ideas. I think they're going to go with the more crazy, we can control monsters 100% route. If you want to make donations to the St. Jude's Children's Hospital, all you have to do to support cancer research and also support the kaiju community is go use the links in the description below to buy yourself a Kaiju vs. Cancer t-shirt. The Kaiju vs. Cancer t-shirt was drawn by Tom Crone, featuring 3 different kaiju from independent kaiju creators. Also, there will be Kaiju vs. Cancer posters sold at G-Fest. These posters will be found at Denny and Roth's booth. One of them is 2 kaiju fighting. I just put the names on screen because I don't know how to say those names. The other one is Kaiju vs. Cancer Ice Cream Man. You guys can get that one too. And the other one is the Kaiju Matador, which I think personally is my favorite of the bunch. All proceeds go to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Go check it out. It's for a good cause. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys next time. D-Man out.
Oh, baby, come on and say it now. Just let the words come out. Tell me you love me. It's easy. Just say what's on your mind. Say it a million times. Tell me you love me.